Brahmanand, who's here with us and has done a magnificent job with this film, will be here for a post-screening interaction. And thanks so much, Brahmanand, for making this film on my hero, who was almost invisible in all the films that I saw, but I could feel him in the soundtracks, in the tabla when Basanti was being chased, and when the imposter walks out of the jail in the glinted eyes, Amitabh Bachchan in Satya Pe Satta. So we'll see a whole lot of those magic and how those were created, because you hear a certain soundtrack and you always wonder that how did he do it? From where did it come from? But we could never get a book or Google to question that and find an answer. But this film does it for us beautifully. So without going further, we'll start the film and we'll have an interesting, enriching interaction with Brahmanand post the screening. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
He was a unique person, His thinking was unique, his way of composition was unique. He was always itching that I want to do something new, something. इसमें नया क्या करें, इसमें नया क्या गाना कैसे डालें, इसमें नई सिचुएशन में इसमें कोई नया म्यूजिक इंस्ट्रूमेंट डालें.
So he was there all the time with music.
I'm going to start with how did this journey begin? I mean, yesterday we had Jaideep Verma who was screening his film on Sudhir Mishra, and he said that there are people in this industry who've not been recorded, who've not been documented, and they're carrying stories within them. And this is a perfect example. I mean, one person, and there's so many stories around it through his own life, through his friends. What triggered you? What made you take this journey as a filmmaker to make a film on R.D. Burman?
Every birth anniversary and death anniversary, I would see news channels go agog with 5-minute, 10-minute kind of clips where they would catch hold of anybody, Varsha Usgaonkar, talking about R.D. Burman, and I would wonder, why is she talking? Or someone, I mean, I don't want to name anybody, but I have seen names which had like absolutely no connection or relevance, but still, because it was an R.D. Burman day, so they would make sure that something or there, and they would play a few songs and then get away. And one fine day when I was driving somewhere, FM was going on and Chura Liya Hai was on, and at the end of the song, it was the remixed song. So the RJ said that, wow, what a lovely song made by Bali Sagu. And I thought that was, and I thought that if it remains like that, probably if nobody does it, I think these songs may get known as the people who have remixed them and so on. And then I think it was also something that was building on for quite some time, but I thought that maybe Gulzar Saab will make a very personal film someday, which I'd want to see. I thought that maybe Asha Bhosle would commission someone and get a very elaborate, lovely film made on R.D. Burman, which I could see. So when none of that was happening, I eventually think took the plunge, and how I took the plunge, I can share that a little later. But I think at the end, it was a very expensive ticket for me to see a film that I wanted to see on R.D. Burman.
There's one thing that comes across through your film. It's almost like a Bollywood film. There are moments of happiness. We laughed. There's moments of sorrow. We cried towards the end. And also one very interesting thing is certain dialogues made us clap, which doesn't happen today in Hindi films. When you go, there are no dialogues that people clap on. And there was something that, so what I personally feel when I'm talking about this genius, was he a genius because of other geniuses around him, and his decline was because some of these other geniuses who made him who he was were scattered? Could that be a reason? Because if I can be critical about the mid-80s, some that was probably the worst phase of Indian cinema. Bad films were starting to make. So the 27 flops, were they RD's flops or those were bad films that attributed to his decline?
I think I'll answer that a little later. But what you asked first, that you saw people clap and things like that. I am now so used to it because I have attended about 100 plus proper screenings personally around the world, from 40 international film festivals and 60 others, 40 in auditoriums, 20 more, I think, in private screenings. And I see people clap at exactly the same points. And there are about 10 points, which some clap at 1.7, some others clap at the other 8 and something. But around those 10 points, and 10 points, I think, in a film of this kind, for people to get so connected and therefore applaud, I think, is... I feel that what I have tried to do, and it was a very simple, the effort was huge, but the outcome, I thought I'll keep it simple. Simple, that was, in telling this, I'll tell a story. And when people like Sudhir Mishra that you named, or Ashutosh Gawarikar, Raju Hirani, they have called me up and told me when they have seen what has the film done to me, to them. And when I was trying to do the second part of that without a film, just to use the lines, the bites that had not been used, so I was trying to collect who all had said what. And I put 3 of my assistants on the job, and they found, just from Facebook and email, 1,500 pages of what people had written to me. And pretty much it's the same way that people respond around the world, whether it's Argentina or Japan. They have subtitled it on their expense in Japanese and shown. So I don't... the very first screening that was there in LA, in ArcLight Hollywood, which is a state-of-the-art 14 theater complex, where some 20% of people were Pancham fans. Then there were 10% of this remix age, teenagers, early 20s, Indians in America, some American friends of theirs. So about 30%. Rest 70% had not even heard R.D. Burman's name. And I started receiving mails, which was the first there, but thereafter many from projectionist booths and things like that, that where can I get his music? This is amazing person, amazing film, everything. So when I set out to make, I started with an image, which was when I was in Karachi at a festival where some other film that I had made was there. So the director of the festival, after the closing, because there was no booze and other things, he brought us his home, one of those palatial Karachi houses, and he had a little band there, local band, who was playing all kinds of good music. And one of the songs that they played at some point of time was Musafir Hoon Yaro, Mujhe Chalte Jaana Hai. And I think I was a little sozzled by then. It was 5 in the morning, and I leaned to, I think it was Sudhir Mishra, who I told him that I will go back and start the work of the film on the film that I had been pushing so far away. And it's time, I'll go and I'll call it Mujhe Chalte Jaana Hai. So that's what, it took me 3 years, but after that, I did have a film which was called Mujhe Chalte Jaana Hai. And I later came across a wonderful line from Javed Akhtar, who said that Kadam uthao to manzil rasta ban jati hai.